Yeah. Okay.
Isn't it went from because it showed us in two different channels for some reason.
Uh-huh.
It, say something, see if this works. Yep.
Oi, oi, and welcome to the Dritz Dressin channel. I'm Ski Nerd, that's Derv Derp, and we are here to review Terrifier Tree. I mean, 3. There are trees in the movie, but we'll get to that in a second. But first, Derv Derp has something to say.
Since this movie just came out 4 days ago, this is a spoiler video. We're gonna just go through and say our overall rating, and then we'll get into the spoiler territory. I'd rate it a good 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's 4 out of 5 for me.
It was a lot better than the first two, just a lot. It's like the second one where a lot happened, but it used its time a little better than the second one did.
Yeah, it was a lot smoother, and the story was better. It was it was in a line basically. It made sense, and it wasn't. It did slow down at certain points. It didn't add any unnecessary characters. All the characters were used in a unique way, as opposed to the second one where they had like a couple friends. It was just like, why are you here? They could have got rid of some of the friends.
Like,
They didn't need all
why
that
is
shit.
Art the Killer killing random people?
Yeah, it made more sense into why he's doing what he's doing. It kind of enhances the story of the second one with
Sienna.
what's her name?
Sienna.
What is it?
Sienna.
Sienna.
Yep.
Sienna. And her angelic costume. It also goes into the backstory of her dad. They didn't even show the dad in the second one. They just mentioned him, and it was cool to see her as a kid requesting, "Oh, you need to have a female character," and he's like, "Okay, I'll make one." Blah blah blah, and he makes that character with the sword that can defeat anything or whatever. And in this one, it felt like Art actually had a motivation for what he was doing. And the second one, it just felt like, okay, why are you attacking random people? In the first one, it made sense. It was like, oh, these people pissed him off.
The second one also, at least one or two of the people he kills in the second one pissed him off too. Like the store clerk. But not all, like, a lot of the kills in the second one was like, why is he killing her friends for no reason? Because especially the Allie, the one that's killed in the bedroom scene, she showed she didn't even have any scenes with Art before that.
Yeah, there was no like really any reason to kill her.
Same thing with her other friend too, other than they were with Sienna at the
Yeah,
time.
it was just killing for killing's sake, and it was just like, okay, this it didn't make as much sense. But the third movie, yeah, it clears it up on their motivations. Um, but let's before we get into the story, we can discuss more about the story. Let's get into the scenes, because there was a lot of art scenes, and they were definitely artistic. Because remember, He is a body artist. All right. So the opening scene. We actually, when we got to the theater, we were warned about this scene. They're like, "Oh, it's really bad."
Which it really,
yeah, like,
in my opinion, it wasn't really as bad as it could have been. Like you said, as bad as he said it was. But
yeah,
that's because they cut it so they could maintain the not rated rating, not make it NC-17.
Yeah. I can see what they were trying to do to make it NC-17. But yeah, he spoiled it for us. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's gonna be a kid that gets killed at the beginning," and I was just like, "What?" And that was actually more scary, him saying that, than the actual movie. And I was just like, "Man, I don't want to see a kid get killed." No wonder there was like some 16-year-old kid went in there, saw the movie, and told her parents. So we both got carded at the door to watch this movie.
Oh, for
and
me,
it was only like 4 people in the theater, so.
For me, it was normal because I'm a theater employee and we're going to a different theater than what I work at. So that was normal for me because they always card me to make sure I'm who I say I am.
He said he was carding everyone,
Yeah.
so.
I was like, I had my ID ready.
Yep, you did. And we were able to make it into the theater, barely. As you said, also too, there wasn't a whole lot of people, so it wasn't as, the atmosphere wasn't as good. We were like the only ones making noise, and we were like laughing the whole time.
I heard one of the guys behind us laugh a few times, but.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. But anyways, let's get into the opening scene. So opening scene, it's Christmas time. It's a few days before Christmas, and this little girl, she hears a noise on the roof, and I think it's Santa Claus. I think it's Santa Claus, Mommy. So she wakes up her parents. Santa Claus is on the roof, and they're like, we don't hear anything. So the mom has to take care of it. Make some milk and cookies, to tell her daughter, yeah, we'll just leave milk and cookies for the elves who are scouting the area. And milk and cookies are made, and the parents go to bed, and Mr. Art comes into the house. Except we don't know how he comes into the house. It's probably through a window or something.
Chimney, probably.
What's that?
Chimney.
Probably. Anyway, so he's there, and this little girl sees Santa. It's like, oh my God, it's Santa Claus! Oh my God! And he hears the little girl behind him. He doesn't really turn around though, but she goes and hides, and she's slowly following him. And he, nonchalant with an axe, just walks upstairs, walks into her brother's room, who's a couple years older. Maybe he's 8 or 9, maybe 10. And chops him up, which is supposed to be the crazy scene, because here in America, you're not allowed to kill kids. So whenever I play a video game and there's a bunch of children, it's some guy's oh, we gotta kill whatever's in front of us. They're a bunch of kids. I'm like, yeah, they're not gonna die because you can't kill kids. But in this one, he just implies it that he killed them. Yeah. You don't actually see what happens.
You just hear the little kid saying his sister's name and
it's don't bother me,
yelling
sister.
At her. And then you just hear the axe chopping and very juicy sounds.
Yeah. And then he goes in the parents' room and starts chopping up the husband who's sleeping. And then the mom is like, honey, what are you doing? Sees the blood and just starts screaming, runs downstairs. And Art axes her in the back, and she tries to run towards the Christmas tree, and she chops her arm off, which is pretty great. So that whole scene happened, and it wasn't as terrifying as people were saying.
And also the whole time he's doing his usual, like after he swipe after the mom notices, he points at the mom and just laughs.
Yeah. Chaotic evil. So that scene was fun.
And
then it cuts. The scene ends with the little girl in the closet.
Yeah.
And it's implied that he's gonna kill the little girl.
Cabinet,
so
not
like,
closet.
5 years earlier.
She's in the cabinet, in the kitchen closet, like the.
Oh, okay.
NC-17, but and supposedly people have been walking out of.
We'll do this one first. It's okay. He hears at the end of the second movie. You hear a scream. The woman comes to check on the
Victoria
lady that's in there.
Victoria.
Messed fucking face. Yeah, Victoria. That's what his name is. And Chris Jericho comes running, and we see Art's head eating this like war lady's face, and there's an esophagus that's leading into. He freaks out, and he runs out of the room, and he looks over to his right, and he sees Art's body that's walking towards them without a head, and then Victoria attacks him, and he's like dying with Victoria and Art's body attacking him. And he's like, oh my god, they basically just grab his face and just like rip his skull in half. And that's pretty much what happens. So that was cool.
That was Chris Jericho's rise to fame in horror movies.
Yeah. We thought we were going to get more Chris Jericho, but no Chris Jericho. Or a little Chris Jericho. But the scene we forgot to mention is the policeman scene. So it cuts to 5 years earlier, right at the scene of the crime where Art's body his head is chopped off. So you just see the body. So this policeman comes and examines this body, and he's like, oh, I got a decapitated head over here. All right, I'm going to keep looking.
Decapitated body. Because the head was nowhere to be found.
What did I say?
You said decapitated head.
Oh, whatever. Headless body. And, he starts searching, and he looks back, and then the body's magically gone. He's like, what the hell? And he gets attacked. And the next scene, we see him on a train. So I guess the body can see then? I don't know. It was kind of funny. Some lady was on the train looking at him like, oh, okay, that's creepy.
Hello, MG.